Welcome to the Credit Union Sales and Marketing Podcast. Your hosts, Bill McKenna, Paul Robert, and special guests discuss ideas for creating alignment in your sales and marketing efforts and ways to accelerate growth. Now let's get started.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Credit Union Sales and Marketing Podcast, where we talk about all things credit union related sales and marketing. My co-host is Paul Robert. Paul, say hello.
Hey, hello, Bill. Good to see you. And excited to talk about the topic today because, Bill, we talk a lot about sales and marketing. We use the word differentiation a lot. And I think credit unions have a really great opportunity to differentiate themselves with financial education. So let's stop talking and let's get Nicole on stage here. How's that sound?
Sounds great. So our guest today is Nicole Hood. She is the co-founder and CEO of My First Nest Egg. Did I get that right, Nicole?
That's perfect. You got it.
All right, good. Well, Nicole, it's really great to have you today. We're excited to talk about financial education. So why don't we start off with a little bit about you and My First Nest Egg. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing over there.
Sure. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to chat with you about financial education, and we really talk about it in terms of family, and we really love to do a family first approach to financial wellness and bringing education to not just the kids but to the family as a whole. And we just see this as a really great strategy, not only to educate and give some of that really important knowledge to the people that are looking for it, but it happens to be when you're targeting families, those are the people who are the most likely to be getting those car loans, the mortgages, all of the different services. And so we really love to be there and be like a life stage partner with families, whether they have kids, teens, or, they're just starting out. And so that's really what we're trying to do at My First Nest Egg.
Yeah, that's interesting because, we talk a lot about financial education at credit unions, and we hear a lot of different ways people are doing that at the schools and all that. But it sounds to me like your approach is slightly different, although those are all important places to speak about financial education. But what you just said intrigues me about the family. Because, the kids go home, right? And the families are involved. So tell me a little bit more when you say family, like what's that look like?
Yeah, so when we started the company, my business partner and we had 7 kids between us, all 10 and under. And it became really apparent to us. It was during COVID, it was shut down, the kids were all home. And I just realized my own kids did not understand the concept of money. They had the give me's. They did not understand that free shipping didn't mean that a product was free. They actually thought that it meant it was. So there was some confusion. I knew there was some work that had to be done on our side. So my business partner and I were like, let's find something to teach our own kids about money. And when we looked out there, everything was really debit card focused or for kids too old. And so we said, gosh, let's try to make some things. And you take 2 female attorneys who are, so I was a corporate attorney for 18 years before starting My First Nest Egg. And my business partner, Annie, is a former prosecutor. You put us on the task and we really dove in. And we started making some stuff for our own kids. And then all of a sudden, 80 of our friends were using it. And then we popped it in the app in Google Play Store and we had thousands of people using it. And that was the genesis behind My First Nest Egg. And so we knew that it really had to not just be a kid-focused program, but something that wrapped its arm around the parents because they are the conduit. No 6-year-old, and I have 3 kids at home, there is no 6-year-old, not even my teenagers, are looking up savings accounts or how do I invest. That's not what they're looking at, right? They're looking up their Roblox stuff. So it's the parents that we really had to talk to first.
And Nicole, I would say, and please give me your perspective on this, a lot of times the parents need to be educated too, because, regardless of their upbringing, and certainly a younger generation of parents didn't get the financial education in school. So just another reason, I think, to target both the kids and the parents. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 1,000,000,000%. And Paul, what we really love about having our materials are intended, the end product is intended to be used by kids. But everything that we do is, how do we arm parents with the toolbox to be able to speak fluently to their kids? How do we arm teachers who might not have the confidence to teach financial literacy in the classroom? And we get so many comments from parents, oh my goodness, thank you, I'm learning alongside my kids. And I think why they're learning is it's non-judgmental. And it goes back to that kind of old saying, like, you can't really know it unless you can explain it to a child. And we love that we try to break it down. And we have parents who are like, I really didn't understand how my mortgage worked. I really didn't understand why a certificate of deposit was different than a savings account. And we just love kind of diving in and really, being a part of that journey for them.
That's really cool. Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, Nicole, what about the design of your programs? I mean, when I hear you talk about high school kids and hear you talk about elementary school kids, they learn differently and so forth. Talk to us about how the design of your curriculum is different based on the audience that you're trying to reach.
So, we started out with all little kids in the house, and now I have 2 teens. And they're radically different, right? They don't really want to hear from us in the same way that they used to. So for our elementary and middle school kids, we really kind of target the adult first. Here are the tools that you can teach. Here's a free Chore Allowance app. Here are seasonal, monthly printed things. We kind of like consider ourselves the Highlights magazine of financial education. Do you guys remember Highlights magazine? The only reason to go to the doctor's office or the dentist was for the Highlights magazine. But we really love the idea of making it fun and seasonal, and that's how we target the younger families, right? Like it will work in an inflation lesson into Grandparents' Day in September, and for October, for Halloween, where you're like, you know what's really spooky? Scams and frauds, and teaching kids about scams and frauds, and don't click this and don't do this. And parents are like, great, I'm so glad you're teaching my kids this, because kids are online a lot now, and there's things that can compromise the whole family financial system because the credit card is in the Roblox or this is there. So we really even have to teach kids very young about these things. So we try to make it fun, light, that type of stuff. Teens, different story. So let me know how you want me to talk to you about what we're doing with our teens.
Well, what is different about the teens? I mean, and how does technology factor into it? Is that part of the equation, I guess?
Sure, all of that factors in, but for us, now that my business partner and I have teens in the house, I think it became really clear to us that they only care about what's right in front of them. And so the way that we approach teens is we do it through our Money Milestones program, where we just reach out to them at the moments that they're Googling for something. So my first car, my first paycheck, my first investment, my first checking and savings account. So the things that they're looking for right now, we want to be a partner for them during that stage in life. And, it's really great to see a kid like, I don't know how to fill out my first paycheck paperwork. I don't know what to do. Let's walk them through the process. Let's make them aware. Let's introduce them to, why they should sign up for that 401k if that's available, why they should, check certain boxes for taxes. For cars, we have a lot of kids that are like, oh, I have $5,000 and I found a car for $5,000. And we're like, no, there are a lot of fees. There's insurance. There's stuff that you have to factor into this. And so we really love chatting with them at the moments that they need it most. And so that's kind of the very different appeal how we target teens as opposed to how we target, elementary and middle school and the families.
It's amazing, Bill. That sounds a lot like marketing, doesn't it? I mean, the life
It
events,
does sound
right?
like marketing. Yeah, it really does. And what I was impressed by was the way you approach it seems a little different in a number of ways. Like, tell us a little about this Chore Allowance and financial education app for families. What's that about?
Okay, good question. So millennial parents, the people who are about 35 to 45, they are actively looking for tools and resources. And in fact, they are looking for chore and allowance apps. And those searches are up 65% year over year in the App Store. So those kinds of tools and resources where they can organize the kids' money, where they can assign tasks and chores, those types of things are a hot commodity right now. Most of them on the market charge somewhere between $3 and $15 a month, depending on kind of all of the services. What we love doing is we have this really beautiful chore and allowance app. We actually have a patent on certain aspects of it that are really kind of behavioral modification pieces. But what we do is we white label it for our credit union partners, and then they're able to distribute it out for free to all of their members, their community, to schools. And it's just been a really great way to, I think we call it our welcome mat. Like it's the red carpet to say, look, this is something free. We care about your financial wellness, and why don't you try this? And if we can help out even just a little bit, and then become a part of everyday life, it's just a really nice way to say hello and really make that commitment that we're committed to your family's financial wellness.
Yeah, so you're giving them a tool that's fun too, right? You're giving them something that's easy to use rather than just, nobody really today wants to print out a PDF and write stuff down or do everything. They want something that engages them. And when you just held your cell phone up, for those that are just listening, you're right. Everybody today starts with their cell phone, and they start at a much younger age than they ever did before.
100%. So one of the behavioral modification aspects that we have in the app is we have a puzzle system. And so we really didn't love the idea of check the box chores, like, take out the trash, feed the dog. We wanted kids to not just get paid transactionally, but doing the whole of their chores. So what we do is whatever the reward is or whatever the kids want, whether it's their $3 allowance at the end of the week or whatever it is, it gets fractured into an age-appropriate number of puzzle pieces. And each puzzle piece is assigned to a chore or a task. And as the kids complete them, they can request them from the parents. Parents get notification, and they actually can watch their goal become a reality piece by piece. And so we really love that aspect of it because it helps kids to visualize what they're trying to achieve and then how to do it piece by piece by piece.
And it gives them reward. I mean, it's an instant gratification system, right?
Yeah.
So no, that is really interesting to think about that in a visual aspect too, right? Rather than just like you said, check the box, it sort of creates this visual that helps them to understand what's trying to be accomplished for them. So they could have a goal and I think that's fascinating. So are you using this then? You're using this for the parents at home, but you also are enabling teachers to use these tools as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we have so it was really great. We started getting teachers who were signing up for the program, and we'd be like, normal families have, between 2 and, maybe 6 kids. We were like 140 kids. And so we realized teachers were starting to sign up and use the app. And so we adjusted at a certain point and said, how can we make this more friendly for a classroom? And so we started really listening to teachers, talking to them, the ones that were using it already, and we were really able to capture what teachers need. So there's a little classroom economy in there where the kids can earn an extra hour of recess or free reading time or whatever the teacher would like to assign. And they have to answer financial literacy questions. So we have a 2-minute per day curriculum that teachers can use in the elementary school, broken into 3 different levels. And it's just what we wanted to do is make sure that kids wanted to come back every day. Nothing that was too overwhelming, and it had to be scaffolded. It had to start out with needs versus wants and just build and build and build. And really quickly, we're able to pull kids into really complicated concepts, but you have to lay that foundation first.
Here's just a quick shout out to our sponsor, ironistic.com. Hey, in today's world, everyone knows the importance of having a great website and having an integrated digital marketing plan. If your credit union, community bank, or any other company is looking for that help, I can highly recommend Ironistic. Check them out.
Hey, I'm not advocating for this, but I'm sure there's people out there thinking, is there some kind of testing to this? When I hear you talk about teachers and a curriculum, there's always a test at the end. Is there anything along those lines, Nicole, or is it that scaffolding concept that you just alluded to?
So when we tested this, we tested it in all low-income aftercare programs. And we made sure that we identified teachers who were like, hey, look, I am not equipped to teach a financial literacy class. We said, that's okay. We're going to arm you with everything you need. And within 30 days, meaning 2 minutes a day, so 1 hour total of instruction, we were raising financial literacy scores by almost 15%. So we know that it works because we start laying the basics and giving kids just a tiny little bit that builds on itself day after day after day. So it's something that we really wanted to make sure had impact, because what drives us crazy is to have a shiny object that sits on a shelf, doesn't get used, or even worse, does get used and doesn't have the intended impact.
I think that's really smart too, because honestly, I have seen so many clients that I've worked with over the years that take a new product, service, or something like you have, or another financial literacy curriculum, and one of two things happens. One is they've really overpaid for that. We'll get into that in a second, but they've overpaid for that service. Or secondly, you said it's so cumbersome for that teacher or even that credit union staff to execute that it doesn't get used. So it becomes a very poor investment because they're really not using it, for, especially if they're paying a high dollar amount for that product or that program. So what I understand about yours is you're providing them the support they need, the classroom materials and all the different things, or the parents, the things they need. But Nicole, share with us a little bit why this works so well for every size credit union, but especially a lot of the smaller ones, because it is something that fits within their budget. Is that correct?
Yeah, we really try to make ourselves accessible for every level of credit union. And I would say more than 50% of our partners are under 500 million in assets, and I would say probably 20% are in under 250 million in assets, and we still have a couple that are under 100 million. So we're really committed to all partners. When we ran our case study in 2024, I think the thing that we were the most proud of is that our partners reported that they saved between 25 and 30 hours a month using our service, because we were providing them turnkey content that we then branded for them. Every month they get a package, 2 weeks in advance of the month coming up, that gives them an entire campaign for the month. Social media posts, printables to, have in the branches, really everything they need, a little newsletter insert, all of the things that really help them connect with families, to connect with kids, but most importantly, not have them be doing the content creation, right? Like, spend the time doing what they're good at. We're excellent content creators. We talk to millennial parents. That's our jam. We build stuff for little kids. We're excellent at that. All of our stuff is cute and pretty, but we can't be in every community. These credit unions are the heart of some communities, and so we just then get to be a vehicle that they get to drive. And so we love that partnership between a trusted community partner and then just giving them the materials that they can take out and use.
Hey, Nicole, how would the credit union's employees benefit from this? I was thinking about when you were talking about the teachers, there could be an element to this where frontline employees, for instance, could benefit from it. Certainly your business development people who are out in the communities, but what have you seen in that regard from your credit union partners?
So, Paul, you kind of nailed something that we didn't know when we started. And, at the beginning, when we would turn over our program to a partner, we'd be like, hey, here's your onboarding, let's walk you through, and then let's release it to your members. And the big critical step we missed was the internal onboarding. When we started onboarding the frontline staff, we would say, give us 15 minutes. You can we'll record a video, or let's get on one of your monthly meetings and talk to everybody. When we got the frontline staff excited and included. They all were using it with their kids. A family would walk in, oh my gosh, you got to use this app, or here, take this printable. My kid loved it. When we got them involved in the process, they became the champions, the front line. And when Credit Union Youth Month rolls around, which we call our Super Bowl, and we kind of give like a theme each year. One year it was kind of like a pirate map theme. All the frontline staff wore pirate hats. The next year we did an alien theme. It was an intergalactic investment journey, and we had all the frontline staff were wearing alien goggles and antennas. I mean, when the frontline gets involved, it makes such a huge difference, and then the ROI becomes tremendous when you get that, because it's a different feeling. It feels authentic. It feels like not just like a toss-aside program, but something that's really at the heart of the institution.
Well, and they're not selling something, if you will. They're sharing something from the heart. They're sharing something that they're passionate about and they believe in, and that's what we want to do. Not try to sell somebody on this program, but get them excited about it. So love hearing that.
Yeah, I was sure that when you started mentioning that, Paul's ears were going to perk up, because he's all about that. It's like we've seen that the engagement of the employee is so important to something being successful. I think the really exciting part about this conversation to me is the foundation that's being laid in young children and kids and teens. We've seen so many people that really don't have a clue about how to manage money. And they're coming out of high schools. And as you know, there's some great initiatives out there to require financial literacy classes before graduation in high schools across the nation. I think there's up to maybe 28 states that now have required that. So this is a wonderful tool to start building early, to build those and to work at home, to work with teachers. What I think the credit union would really appreciate about this, and I know there's other programs. The reason we have you on today is I was impressed by how much fun your program was, some of the tools that you had. You mentioned the cute graphics, and it is really well done. It's very fun. And I think that a credit union today, credit unions have to find ways to make this happen in their community with teachers, with parents. And I think this is something that they'd really appreciate. And again, when I looked at it, it's affordable. And I keep saying that. I'm not saying it's cheap. That's not the word I'm using. I'm saying affordable, because it's essential that they do this, and they don't have time to build this stuff themselves.
No. We see our partners who've used us for about a year, they're seeing about a 10% increase in youth account signups year one, which is great. We love that. But more than anything else, they're seeing just a lot more engagement and energy with the parents. That's the car loan, the boat loan, the different things that are also rolling in. And we just love kind of the idea of, when you provide people what they're looking for, and they're looking for tools, they're looking for resources, they're not looking for $5 to open a youth account. That does not move the needle anymore. It really is, can we be a partner with you at every stage? And, parenting is hard. So if we can be a part of just aiding even just this small piece, we love being a part of that.
Hey, Nicole, talk a little bit more about, you mentioned the white labeling earlier, I think when you were talking about the tool for the high schoolers. But, if I was a credit union CEO and you were talking to me about my first nest egg, how am I going to put my brand on it? How am I going to, how are my members in my communities going to know that this is coming from my credit union? Can you talk to that, please, for a minute or two?
Sure. We make sure that our partners are the ones that are highlighted. So we use all of their branding, their colors. If they have a mascot, we work them in too. And it's all powered by My First Nest Egg. But we know the trusted community partner name is the credit union. And so we want to highlight them. And so all of the branding for each of our partners that they get every single month is all for them. And it looks like their materials. And as we develop our relationship, we get better and better and closer each month to really nailing it. Our partners that have been with us, like about a year, they're like, I don't even look at it anymore. It's on our social media calendar. We don't even check it anymore. We just start printing. And so it becomes that thing where we kind of grow together. With our smaller partners, we really, they'll say, gosh, we want to just hit 4 areas of the year. And that's how we're going to use the program. We're like, great, let's look at the calendar together and figure that out. For our big partners, they're like, give us as much content as you got, and we're going to be using it and disseminating it. And so even like between the partners, the program is used fairly differently.
Yeah, it would depend on the internal teams, what resources they have, what bandwidth they have, who they're reaching, their field of membership. There's so many different factors. We have a few more minutes here. If someone's interested in learning more about My First Nest Egg, obviously the website is myfirstnestegg.com. That's pretty easy to remember. But what's the best way to get in touch with you and to learn even more?
Great. Well, emailing me is a great way. I am Nicole, spelled incorrectly, Nicolle, at myfirstnestegg.com. Or you could go right to the website. If you go to the section that says partners, financial partners, there will be a sign-up sheet there that you can put in your information, and somebody will get back to you within just a few hours.
And I see you also have a feature to book a demo. So if you want to take a look at a demo, that's a great idea. And then the pricing, they can look at that. I see here you've got it very transparent, which is a wonderful thing to see. It explains exactly what your different packages look like. Now, some of your larger ones, I guess they're, it's going to depend upon a lot of different things. That's why a discussion with you would be best. I will say that I have seen a lot of different financial literacy stuff out there. Honestly, there are a lot of different things that people have. I would say that this to me seems extremely great. It seems like like I said, it's well packaged. It's colorful. I love the app. I think that's super cool. And I also see here that you have a Spanish version of some of these things. Is that correct?
We do. So we're based in Phoenix. I'm Hispanic, and so it was really important to us that we were inclusive of the broader community. 1/3 of our population here in Arizona speaks Spanish. And so what we do is we keep most of the tools and resources for the kids in English. But our reach outs through our newsletters, our articles, all of the different tools to reach out to the parents, we do those in Spanish. And we're really proud of it. It's really incredible. Our Spanish articles are some of our highest SEOing articles on our website. And we've just found that there's a true desert of information for our Spanish speakers with not just translated content, but culturally appropriate content that really kind of aims to reach out to those families.
Yeah, and in Arizona, it's literally a
desert,
financial desert and a physical desert.
I knew you were going to catch that, Bill.
Yeah, I know I was too. I always say my humor is not good, it's just fast. So, Nicole, thanks so much for joining us today. I really hope that this helps spread the word a little bit about My First Nest Egg. And again, anyone who's interested, myfirstnestegg.com, Nicole Hood. And Nicole, they can get in touch with you through the website if needed. So thanks so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to talking to you again sometime in the future and learning more about what you're doing.
Thank you, Bill and Paul. Really appreciated being here. And we're marching ahead. So thank you.
Keep up the good work, Nicole.